You have an offer. Now what? And you're wondering, what am I talking about? Well, I'm Carolyn Smith. I am the team leader of the Coastal Estate Team here with Compass on the Space Coast of Florida. I've been selling real estate here for 17 years. And recently I've been dealing with, you have an offer. Now what do you do? On the Space Coast and probably through most of Florida, we've seen a shift in the market. There are lots of buyers out there, there's a lot more inventory, but when you get an offer, it's maybe not what you were expecting. So you get the offer and it's maybe not with the same sense of excitement that you had before when the prices were rising and the offer was well and above your neighbor's offer or your best friend's offer or anything like that. So you're looking at your offer saying, what do I do with this? Well, the first thing is, don't take it personally. This has nothing to do with you, who you are, anything about you. And it's so hard because you're so emotionally connected. It's your home. You have a lot of personal feelings about it. And you think, this is meant to insult me. This is meant to take advantage of me. And none of those things are true. So please remember that first and foremost, to just look at it with an impassive eye and say, let me just take this and break it down into its parts and look at it each individually. Don't be insulted. Number two is determine the current market value of your home. And that's where your realtor can really come in and assist you. And the reason why that's so important is when you listed your house, that value as of that date is probably not the value as of the date you received the offer, because we are in a shifting market and values are changing. So you want to get the current market value as of the date that you received the offer. So you're going to want to run or have your realtor run a new market analysis for you so you can really look at the facts and let go of that old value that you heard 3 months ago or 4 months ago or even 1 month ago. The next most important thing is to review all the terms. So an offer is not just about price. Everyone looks at price and sort of stops there. Is it a cash buyer? Is it a finance buyer? Or they maybe have an FHA or a VA loan? Or are they putting a lot down where appraisal isn't an issue? Do they have an appraisal contingency? How long is their inspection period? These are all the things you want to lay out. Maybe make yourself a little list, a little bullet points, and say, what are the things that I can live with? What are the things that I can't live with? Separate from price. So you want to look at all the terms of the offer, closing date, things like that. Next thing is to be ready to counter if needed. And this is where people get hung up. That offer's too low. That's insulting. I'm not going to counter that offer. Every single offer deserves a counter offer. And why is that? We don't know what the buyer's final price and terms will be. You have no idea. They have no idea what your bottom line is. Nobody knows what the other person's thinking. It's kind of like chess. You have to wait for them to make their move so you can make your move. And the thing is, when you refuse to counter, you are basically saying, I'm not interested in selling my home. Because when you counter, you're going to counter based on where you want to be. It's not based on what they offered, it's based on where you want to be. So if the offer is incredibly low, that doesn't mean that you have to drop way down with your counteroffer on price. It simply means that you're going to counter as you normally would, and then see what do they do. Remember, like chess. The next one is don't let your emotions dictate value. And what I mean by that is you have memories and feeling attached to your home. Part of that whole thing of being insulted or feeling that possibly they meant to insult you, that's not true. There's nothing emotional from the buyer's standpoint. Maybe a little bit, they like your home, of course they're making an offer, but most of what they're doing is very analytical. Where you're coming from, the point you're coming from is all your emotion attached to the home, your memories of the home, your feeling about things that happened in that home, milestones in your life, anything that you feel is attached to that home. And so you get emotional. Take the emotion out of it as best you can and just become analytical. It's a business transaction. It's not a personal transaction as much as it might feel like one. The next point, and this just happened with a client of mine, negotiations are not linear. This is not like a tennis match. We don't get so many points each time we hit and win a point. It's not the same number of points. So in other words, I'm not going to counter and then the buyer moves the same number of points or dollars as I do. So let's take that as an example. I have a house priced at $700,000. The buyer comes in at $650,000. I counter at $695,000. Are they going to move $5,000 and be at $655,000? No. Let's say they move to $660,000. Does that mean then I have to move $10,000? No. You're both working towards your line in the sand, your point where you say, this is the number I would buy at from the buyer standpoint. This is the number I would sell at from your standpoint as a seller. So you're both working towards your number to get to that number. And how fast you move to that number, how much you counter, has to do with your strategy, doesn't have anything to do with what the other party is doing. And that's the same sort of thing as not paying attention to what offer price they came in at. We're not going to say, well, they didn't move enough, so they're not serious. None of that matters. Put that out of your head. Don't form stories about your buyer. They're not serious. They're not the right buyer for my house. What does that mean? The right buyer for your home is the person who is going to purchase your home and close on it at the price that you negotiate. That's the right buyer for your home. The fact that you don't like them on a personal basis, that they made you mad during negotiations, that you don't think they valued what you value in your home, or you didn't like the way they wrote up an addendum, any of those things, those don't matter. Don't put that emotion onto the buyer. When you sell your home, you are not inheriting that buyer. They don't come with you. So you're not taking them with you. You are selling a piece of property. So don't form emotions and feelings about the buyer and let that impact how you negotiate. And honestly, that happens a lot. And it's something that as realtors, we try and back out of that because we don't know anything about that buyer either. And so you want to say the best intentions for that buyer. You don't want them forming opinions about you as the seller. Don't form opinions about them as the buyer. The most important thing is to remember the things that you spent money on, the things that are valuable to you may not be valuable to the buyer. A perfect example of this is solar systems. And I say this because those guys will come and knock on your door and tell you how you're going to buy a $30,000 or $40,000 solar system and your electric bill is going to be nothing. You're not going to pay for electricity anymore. And so you decide that you are going to invest $30,000, $40,000 in a solar system. And so when you sell your house, you think that's what it's worth. That's what the buyer should reimburse me for. Guess what? A solar system is not worth anything to a buyer. This has been proven over time. Additionally, from an appraisal standpoint, the appraiser will not provide additional value based on a solar system. So if you're putting your back behind something and saying, no, there's value in that. Yes, it's valuable to you. But let's say somebody is they're environmentally conscious. They love doing what's right for the environment. They want a solar system. They're still probably not going to pay more money for it because they know that it's not a value on top of the value of the home. So they're not going to pay more for it, even though they get the benefit of it. So it's important to remember. I'm going to give you a couple more examples. One is custom closets. You may love your custom closets, and I may love your custom closets. The buyer loves your custom closets, but in overall value, these things don't add money. You might love that you painted the outside of your house a beautiful lavender color. I love lavender. I think that's great. The buyer might not like that. So when you're attached to things and you think they bring value, they don't always bring value. And you can get very hung up and lose a deal over something that no one is going to pay more money for. No one. So don't let yourself talk yourself out of a great deal. And my line always is, don't be the highest bidder for your own home. That's where people really get stuck. You are essentially buying your home back for that price. So in my example where the person started at $700,000, the seller. The buyer's at $650,000. The buyer gets stuck at $670,000. The seller gets stuck at $680,000. That's fine. If that is your bottom line as a seller, $680,000, and you really do not want to go a penny below that, and you're willing to let that buyer walk away for $10,000, fine. But realize you're essentially buying your home for $680,000. You're buying it back. You're holding on to it. Are you willing to do that? And especially in a declining market, a shifting market that we're in right now. Be very careful when you do that. So again, if you are looking to sell property or buy property along the Space Coast, I would love to help you. I think I bring and hopefully bring to you a calm, measured, but also passionate approach about real estate. I love helping people and I love selling homes. So you can reach me. My contact information is in whatever platform you're watching this on, or you can call me. My number is 321-271-0870, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.